Hey, it's me, Raika. Today we're going to have a look at Antandra, Desert Fury from the Mauler faction. Now, this hero wears leather-based gear, is part of the warrior class, and a primary role is to provide a significant amount of damage and various other utility options for her teammates. So let's have a look at her skills. Her ultimate ability, Fury Strikes. Antandra unleashes a multi-stage attack on the enemy with the highest attack rating, with a final attack causing the enemy to become stunned for 6 seconds while stealing their attack rating. So as we can see, she will deal 50% damage multiple times to the enemy, of which the enemy with the highest attack rating, while the final attack will deal 190%. In addition, she will also stun them for 3 seconds, and while using this skill, Antandra is immune to damage and ignores enemies' dodge. So this is an excellent way for her to scale extremely well, irrespective of how much investment the enemy has. After successfully striking the enemy with her first attack, Antandra steals 40% of the enemy's attack rating. So this allows her to solo carry, and in some cases, she's able to one-shot the entire team by herself and keeps it for 6 seconds. This skill cannot be stacked against a single target more than once. The amount of attack rating stolen cannot exceed 450% of her own attack rating. The level 2 and 3 increase the final attack damage from 190% to 250% attack damage. Her next ability, Mark of the Wild. Antandra attacks an enemy for 220% damage, imprinting them with a mark upon them for 4 seconds. So this is a little red icon or claw on the enemy. While marked, the enemy's accuracy is reduced by 80 points and the energy recovery is reduced by 60%. The level 2, 3, and 4 increase the mark duration to 7 seconds. Now, multiple enemies can be marked, so if the enemy is grouped up together, essentially you can have all 5 enemies marked with this particular skill. Her next ability, Piercing Assault. Antandra throws a spear at the enemy of the highest attack rating, dealing 180% damage to all enemies it penetrates. Antandra then dashes over the enemy target, after which she receives a shield which exists for 5 seconds that has a value of 550% of the target's enemy attack rating, but will not exceed 1000% of her own attack rating. Enemies hit by Antandra's spear are marked by Antandra. So as I mentioned, this mark ability, which debuffs the enemies, is highly beneficial to Antandra. Enemies hit by Antandra's spear are marked by her. Antandra cannot be controlled and ignores enemy dodge while the skill is active. The level 2, 3, and 30 engravings increase this damage of this particular spear from 180% to 260% damage. Now, this particular spell over here allows her to throw a spear over the entire region of the battlefield, and she'll immediately dash from one edge to the other edge of the battlefield. Her next ability, Knockdown. Antandra uses her spear to swipe at nearby enemies, dealing 180% damage to them, also knocking them down. Meanwhile, Antandra recovers 22% of her health she has already lost. So this is a bit of a life leech or self-recovery. Antandra also recovers an additional 8% of her max health for every enemy that she knocks down. So as we can see, the more enemies that are grouped together, the more she'll be able to recover. The level 2 and 3 increase the damage from 180 to 240%. And the 60 engravings, Antandra recovers an additional 4% of her max health for every enemy she strikes that is marked with Mark of the Wild. If an enemy is unmarked, they will be consequently marked. So let's have a look at a signature item. When you unlock Unconquerable, allies that strike marked enemies will have their accuracy increased by 70 points and crit rating increased by 15 points for 4 seconds. This skill cannot be stacked. Now level 10 and 20 unlock further improve this effectiveness. Accuracy is increased by 90 points and crit rating is increased by 25 points. So this is nearly a quarter way to getting 100% at crit rating buff for your allies. And at level 30, allies receive an additional 60 energy points after striking marked enemies. This skill is triggered once every 2 seconds. So as we can see, she can provide additional utility and damage for your teammates as well. So let's have a look at the furniture over here. When you unlock Warrior's Spirit, the 3 out of 3, Antandra receives 40% less damage from enemies that are out of range of a knockdown skill. The 9 out of 9, if Antandra loses a total of 95% of her max health, her attack rating is increased by 30% and she recovers 70 energy points per second and is immune to enemy control effects up until the end of battle. So this is a permanent effect. However, she'll need a secondary ally that can provide a decent amount of shields or healing in order to be able to heal herself all the way back to 100% so that she can survive and start one-shotting the enemies with her abilities. So let's have a look at how she does in battle. So we're going to start off with the wooden training dummy. So at the beginning, she'll start swiping and slashing at the enemies. Now she has marked the enemy over here, and soon she'll teleport using a spear. Now she'll throw the spear at the enemy, and then she'll teleport directly to that particular target. So she'll mark this target over here, and she teleported to the mage. Now every single enemy hero that is in line of that particular spear will also get damaged by her as well. So she's going to teleport now. There we go. She threw a spear and she instantly killed the mage hero. So let's have a look at how she does at a much higher level deficit. So this over here is a 140 level deficit. And from this particular play, we can see that Antandra did a massive amount of damage for the team. So let's have a look at how she does. Now this hero pairs extremely well with other invade-like heroes. So if you pair her up with Scrake, who has additional buffs, she'll throw her spear and immediately leap across the battle. As we can see, she has leaped and is attacking the Verk right over here. Now she'll use her ultimate, where she'll do multiple slashes against the target, and she was able to kill the target over here. Then she dashed to the next enemy over here, and she's fighting the Ulna right over here. Now, in addition, your allies will also benefit from hitting the same target as Antandra. So as we can see, all of the allies are currently stacked and they are slowly defeating one enemy at a time. Now, what is the minimum investment that I would recommend for this hero over here? Now, I would highly recommend getting her 30 signature item, as this provides a tremendous amount of additional buffs for your allies, such as accuracy buff, crit rating, and energy recovery. This is a massive amount of extra double damage and ultimates that they can be using more often. Now, I would also recommend getting her 9 out of 9 furniture, as this allows her to become a solo carry for your team. The reason for this allows her to become immune to all control effects. And once this happens, she's able to completely nuke down one enemy at a time. And she'll do this as many times as she can in order to defeat the entire team by herself. Now, in addition, she also has a lot of built-in damage reduction right over here, 40% less damage reduction. In addition, she also has various other stat stealing abilities, such as from her ultimate, which steals 40% of the enemy's stats right over here. Now, I would also recommend getting her 30 engravings. The reason you get her 30 engravings is to simply give her additional survivability, as without this, she is sometimes a bit too squishy, especially at the beginning of battle. However, once she has gotten a couple of ults through and she's invaded the enemy lines, then she can slowly start ramping up and start one-shotting the enemies by herself.